What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Lockdown 23-1. It's been a while since I just sat in front of this camera and told some stories. And today we are going to start from the beginning. The beginning. The making of a convict. The making of a criminal. How the hell did someone such as myself, who had a loving family, parents who are still married to this day, has strong religious beliefs and structure in the household, how the hell does someone like me, who was raised in a great environment, turn into someone that's been in prison 2 times? You know, we're going to talk about it all the way from the beginning. All the way from the beginning, and I don't know where to begin. And you know, I'm doing this video because I know there's a lot of new people on this channel, but they don't ever go too deep into the rabbit hole. All right, and when I say rabbit hole, I'm meaning all of my previous videos. I speak a lot about me as a person, and I feel like if you're gonna watch a YouTube channel, you need to get to know your host a little bit better. So what better way than to start a little series and story time based upon my life growing up. You know, how I became heartless and ready to do crazy shit at the drop of a dime without thinking twice. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, it's gonna be some stories and hopefully some learning experiences for some other people, man, because I can guarantee millions of kids go down the same exact path that I took, and we had probably the same exact mindset, you know? And I'm gonna break all that shit down. And you know, some of the things I'm gonna tell you, I probably haven't told nobody ever. I never really spoke too much about my childhood. I never spoke too much about my, early adulthood, besides a few things that y'all heard. And just listen to what I say now. If you are going around the same path that I took, hey, you ain't gonna be winning, dog. You ain't gonna win shit. You're gonna win, what's the saying? You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You know, you play the crime game, you're gonna go to the stupid penitentiary. And there's only 2 things that can really happen when you go to prison. You either learn from your mistakes, never do it again, or you get out and you do it again. All right, so fortunately for me, I learned from my mistakes. I turned my life around 540 degrees. I read a comment yesterday. He said, man, you just did 3 circles, because I said 720. You just did 3 circles and walked right back into the pen. Oh, y'all guys are funny in the comment section. I ain't gonna lie, man. Y'all give me some laughs. But yeah, I did a 540, and now I'm doing the right thing, and I believe the message that I got going on this channel is helping people in some way, shape, or form, as well as entertaining the hell out of y'all with my comedic performances. But yeah, all right, where to begin? Let's start here. All right. I was born in a city called Newport News, Bad News, VA. I don't remember much of that area. The earliest times in my life, believe it or not, that I remember was in a trailer. Yeah, old Death lived in a trailer growing up. And that's another thing. I'm changing when the PS5 comes out, my name will no longer be Death, okay? I'm changing it, because I'm tired of being called Death. And a lot of people say, oh, you made up your name. I didn't make up my name. I had a gaming channel before this channel, and it was Death I Bring. People call me Death, and it just followed up, and it is what it is. But I just feel like if people keep calling me Death, I'm gonna see death sooner or later, I don't want to be called that shit. And then if I do die, then people be like, oh, he really lived up to his name, No, I don't want that. All right, so be on the lookout for that later on down the road. So yeah, like I was saying, I was born in Newport News, Virginia. Okay, and then we moved to Virginia Beach, I believe, into a trailer. One thing I do remember about this trailer, I'm not going to speak much about it because I don't know much about it, but I do remember my uncle was living with us at the time in this little trailer. I had my father, my mother, and my 2 brothers. Okay, rest in peace to my brother Mike. He's passed away, and we'll get into that story later on down the road. A lot of y'all already know how it happened, but yeah, I got 2 brothers, and my other brother was living with us as well, and now he is a police officer. And that turned into a shit show down the road later on as well. Because I was beefing with the police at one point and I didn't really have no respect for it. But we'll get there. But in this trailer, I remember there was cockroaches. I used to see cockroaches all the time. Big ass cockroaches, And as a kid, that early on in my age, I don't really remember being scared of them or feeling like they were gross. I just remember seeing them. And also, my uncle was living there with us as well. He's lived with us throughout a couple houses. Everyone has that uncle that probably ain't hit that path just yet, And he has to live somewhere. So, family's family. But anyways, my father and my uncle, they were always doing some kind of artistic stuff. I remember they used to cut like storks and clowns out of plywood, right? And they would paint it, and they would rent it out to people to put in their yards in case they had a baby or a birthday. They could slap that big clown or stork in their yard for decorations. Plywood, they've always been very artistic. My whole family, my whole dad's side of my family, very artistic, okay? His brother lives in Alaska and the Philippines, I believe, and he does paintings all the time. Just wild paintings. And I believe he makes some good money off of some of his paintings. But anyways, very artistic. And I gleaned from that, and I became a very artistic individual as well, as y'all know from some of my previous tattoo videos or just anything that I do artistic-wise. The funny thing here is talents. We all get a certain amount of talents, and you can either, waste them, let them waste away and never really perfect your talent, or you can perfect it and make a living off of it, and that's one thing that I've noticed throughout time. My father never gave up on his talents, which was art, and to this day, okay, from being poor and cutting out storks and clowns on a damn piece of plywood to now, he has his own art business now, and it's pretty much doing kind of the same thing, but not. He's still cutting out wood and doing artwork on it, but nothing like the storks and clowns. Is something much more detailed, and he just perfected his talent. He found his niche, and now he's on his path. And ladies and gentlemen, it took my father a very long time to get on that path, man. I've seen the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs, so he never gave up. He never gave up, and my father's a true inspiration to me and to anyone that really knew his story. My father, this is the work ethic that I gleaned from my father. My father made the newspaper one time because he was so broke that he would drive around, or not drive around, he would ride his bike around with the little back seat on the back of his bike that I used to ride in. There's little seats on the back of the bike. And when I was a baby, I used to ride in them. Well, he used to ride this bike around, and he would go from door to door asking people if he could pick up their dog shit out their yard. That was all he could do. That's all he could think of, So he rode his bike from yard to yard picking up dog shit, man. And surprisingly, he made the newspaper. I don't know if you would want to make the newspaper for something like that, but he did. And maybe I could find that article for you sometime. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because the struggle was real. All throughout my life, the struggle was real, and it only gets worse and worse and worse. And it took forever for us to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we have. All right, so let me progress with the story at hand. So yeah, the trailer park, that's pretty much all I remember of that. And then we moved to an area called Indian River in Chesapeake, right? And in this neighborhood is where I met a lot of friends that would lead me down the wrong path, okay? And I learned a lot. I was around different individuals, and I started getting, when you get older, you start to realize what's cool, what's not. It's like I ate from the tree of good and evil. I started to realize what was good, what was bad. Now, check this out. When I first went to school, it was a private school. Okay, it was a Christian school. So I went there, and in the morning, my mom would drive us all to school, me and my brothers. And man, we would be singing gospel music on the way. My brothers wouldn't, but I'd be singing with my mama, you know what I mean? That's how good of a kid I was. And I'd say I was probably about 4 or 5 when this happened, kindergarten, kindergarten, I'll never forget. They had this bathtub in the classroom that had all these pillows and stuff and a sandbox. And if you were good, you could go into this damn badass bathtub with a bunch of freaking pillows, or the sandbox with a bunch of dinosaurs. And I kid you not, I used to make it into that damn bathtub on a regular basis. But keep this in mind, as I'm still going to this private school, I'm still gleaning off of the kids in my new neighborhood. I'm learning from them. I'm seeing a lot more fights. I'm right down the road from some projects, and then you go left a couple miles, there's even more projects. So, I was learning from a wide variety of people that I haven't seen before. And not only if I did see them, I was too young to recognize, hey, what's good and what's bad, we just had fun, but like I said, once you get to that certain age, you change up, and you either choose to take the bad or the good route. And one thing I noticed was all the bad kids were getting all the attention. They were getting all the respect. They weren't getting picked on. So naturally, I wanted to become a bad kid. I wanted that respect, even down to 6 years old. I started seeing this shit for what it was. Now, like I was saying, as soon as I moved to this neighborhood, everything started going downhill. I started becoming awake, and I started finding things, because one of my brothers, he was doing law school and all this stuff, and he's going to school and doing what's right. My other brother, the one that passed away, sad to say, he was in the mix of all kinds of shit. Me and my, the brother that was getting into a lot of shit, we were the ones that were sharing rooms. So I would see him bring in all kinds of things all the time, and I was just learning everything from him. Down to breaking into car tools and seeing all the stuff that he would bring home, CD players, speakers, and all this stuff. I was like, damn, how's he getting all this stuff? We're dirt poor, eating moon pies and beans and rice and bologna every damn night. You know what I mean? I'm like, shit, he's getting all the cool stuff. So I started wondering what the hell he was doing. He wasn't working, and then sooner or later I put two and two together. He's just doing dirt. But that isn't until years down the road, because even though I'm becoming woken up to the realities of bad and good, I still didn't know what was going on. He used to bring in a lot of weed, and I didn't know what it was. He would stuff it somewhere, and I would act like I'm sleeping, but I would know where it is, and I'd go check it out. I would pull out the reconnaissance missions. And so I started learning a lot from my brother just by watching, and then I started learning a lot from the people around me, and I decided to take that bad route. Like I said, I wanted things. I wanted the cool things. I wanted respect. I didn't want to get bullied. And I wanted to be cool. That's where it all started. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be a badass. And I know there's a million people out there with the same damn story. But I've always been the kind of guy, even since childhood, that if I did something 100%. I'm going to be the winner. You got to keep in mind, everything that I'm telling you to this day is pretty much until I was about 7 years old. Okay, this is where it all turned to shit. All right. The first thing that really locked me in there for something that I'd be a slave to for many years is cigarettes. My parents smoked cigarettes. They smoked Marlboro Reds, I believe, at the time. They never smoked in the house or anything like that. Thank God they had principles, somewhat. They thought about their children all the time. Even though we didn't have shit, my parents thought about us 100% of the time. And one day, I just said, screw it. I'm going to light up one of these cigarette butts. So I stole some matches, and I took a couple cigarette butts from my parents' ashtray, and I went to the woods. There's this little section of woods in the outskirts of our neighborhood that all the kids went to do dirt. Blow things up with the BB guns and all that stuff. Just typical shit that I don't know if they still do it to this day. They probably got Xboxes and all that, PlayStations. But when I was a kid, we went in the woods and we were destroying shit. Or, in my case, I went to the woods and started smoking some cigarette butts. I'll never forget, I got sick as a dog. And I said, man, I don't know how these people smoke this shit, And then, my friends, they became smokers. So it just gave me that oomph to, get over the sickness part and actually become a full-fledged smoker by like 7 or 8. You know, I was really smoking cigarette butts on a regular basis by that age. Is that unbelievable or what? Now, another thing that was really a game changer for me, okay, was I'll never forget, I see my brother stash some dirty magazines in the room, or some magazines. And I said, what the hell is he hiding the magazines in there for? You know, why is he hiding magazines? So when he left and, went out with his homeboys or whatever, I went and did my reconnaissance missions. And sure enough, they were dirty magazines. And I'll tell you this, I felt, look, I didn't know what to do with them, but I knew they were cool. I didn't know what to do with them, but I knew they were good. I said, oh, this is crazy. I'm seeing girls naked for the first time in my life. First time in my life. And I took those magazines to the woods, looked through them by myself. Even at that age, I could have asked my friends to come check it out, but I didn't. I was smoking these cigarette butts and stuff like that. Everything that I started experimenting with, I did it by myself. And that kind of, grew on me. And that's what I did throughout time of my crimes later on down the road. But that dirty magazine, it really started something in my life, that I liked girls. I realized I love girls, and that was another thing. Girls tend to like bad guys. They do. And don't lie, y'all like them, And I mean, it goes all the way back to caveman days, probably, I don't know how, it's kind of just built within women's nature to go for the alpha male. And the other way around, it's in men's nature to become that alpha male and lead the pack. That's just how I look at it. But when it comes down to it, it's just good versus evil. That's all it is. But yeah, even though we were piss broke growing up, my father always had me in baseball. And that was the love of my life. Baseball. Baseball, 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 day in, day out. We didn't have no money, man, but somehow my father managed to get me a baseball glove and a bat every season if I needed it, and I became the best. I mean, I was the best. I had a couple other people that were right there with me, and those kids are the ones that I really became friends with as well, because we were the best. The best of the best. And we thought we were going to grow up to become professional baseball players, So just keep that in mind, because it plays a big role later on down the road. But, as far as that house goes that I lived in, and I showed a video to y'all, that house that I grew up in. As far as that house goes, smoking cigarettes, my whole style of dressing, back then kids were wearing FUBU and Tommy Hilfiger, and that's the stuff I want. I used to watch Puff Daddy videos and want the whole leather suits. I'm like, where can I find them leather suits, man? We're eating moon pies for dinner. I'm thinking about trying to get leather suits like Puff Daddy. And then we got Tupac, and I'm starting to listen to the rap game because all my friends, they like rap. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, I like rap too. But Tupac was really resonating with me. It really was. West Side Connection, too. I don't know if y'all remember West Side Connection. That later on down the road is another group that really influenced me a lot. West Side Connect Gang, EBB Bang. Damn, that's a classic, boy. It's Mac 10, fool, the dude with the heaters, gauges, revolvers, tanks, and millimeters. I was singing that when I was like 9 years old down my bike with the cards and the rims, Ring, ding, 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 ding. Pulling up, old Josh is pulling up in his dirt bike card game in the rims, singing West Side Connection, and that's how it all started unfolding. Not only was it because I was seeing my brother get the cool things and I was getting really investigative with it. I looked up to my brother big time, and my other brother as well, but he was on more of a the bookworm type. He liked Star Trek and stuff like that, but we still had great times. I love both my brothers from the bottom of my heart, man. It's amazing. And a lot of people take their brothers for granted. Don't take them for granted, man. You never know when your brother will go. And then you'll realize how much you truly love that guy, and you truly wish you could have done more with him. We take a lot of stuff for granted in our lives. But anyways, so yeah, I was learning from my brother, but the main thing that really started changing my whole mindset was my friends. My friends in this neighborhood, I'm not gonna lie, were pieces of shit. I ain't gonna lie, but they were good, they were loyal friends. We just had bad intentions. So I started listening to rap music, started being influenced at a very young age, started being around people that were obviously on a different level as I was. They were going to public schools, and the next year or two, I ended up going to these public schools as well. And that really changed everything up. You know what I mean? But even in private schools, you'll get bad influences, bad eggs, bad seeds. So don't think it's just public schools. But yeah, cigarette smoking, dirty magazines, my friends, and music, they were molding me into becoming the person that I was. Unfortunately, they were. Oh, and don't let me forget curse words. I remember I was probably about 8 years old, and I started slinging cuss words like it was no tomorrow. Everyone thought I was the coolest guy in town. He's like, well, damn, man, those words are so bad. So bad. I was like, you're damn right. Yeah, but yeah, I started cussing like a sailor, man. Once I knew about cuss words, I went full effect. Like I said, there was no in between. I went the extra mile. I wanted to be that winner in every situation, even if it was down to me cursing in public. That is the beginning. But one thing that stayed consistent throughout all this was my love for sports, baseball in particular. I outshined everyone on the baseball field, batting, pitching. I've always been a pitcher. I'm left-handed. And just to let y'all know, even when I was committing all these crimes in high school, I still made the baseball team, which was extremely hard to do it for the high school that I was in. It was known for their baseball players. Many baseball players from this school went to pro sports, and I played with many of them. And we'll get to that later on down the road. I think we're gonna wrap this up right here. That was my house in Indian River. That's where shit really started turning up for me. My mindset was really just going towards the dark side. I started seeing the dirtier things in life. I never forget one time too, I told this story in the past, my brother, and this was a big changing factor in my brother's life too, because I found a lot of weed. I found a lot of weed in his room, and I didn't know what it was, and my parents found it when I was looking at it, and I didn't know what it was, but my parents did, and they flushed a lot of weed down the toilet, and that caused a lot of shit for my brother. My brother owed that money to someone, and I believe in order to get that money back, he tried to rob an ice cream store at gunpoint, and all this stuff I was taking in as well. I'm learning from him. I'm thinking that maybe this is the route that I want to take. I don't know yet, So a lot of shit happened in that house that I probably haven't talked about. But for the most part, those three things, women, cigarettes, and friends, music too, I cannot leave music out because that was a big factor in my life. When you recite something over and over and over again at a young age, you feel like, it's brainwashing for real. You're brainwashing yourself. At least it was for me. And the people, the friends, man, I cannot stress that enough. The friends who you surround yourself with, chances are, is who you're going to become. Birds of the same feather flock together. I strongly believe in that saying, and remember that as we move forward with the stories. But we're going to wrap it up right there, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed part one of my story in my life, how I became a bad egg, and it gets crazy. It gets crazy, and a lot of stories I can't tell you, but I am going to be telling you some fresh stories that I've never said on this channel. It gets absolutely batshit crazy. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, I salute to every last one of you who've been supporting me since the beginning, and everybody who's just now joining the lockdown compound. If you are young and you're watching this, I'm telling you, you want to watch it and you need to learn, because everything that I did growing up was a bunch of bullshit. It was a sham. I'm not gonna say I didn't have some good times, but it was a sham. And everything that I worked hard at was all the wrong things. things that would get me nowhere in life. Just remember that, any young guys watching this shit. But y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free out there.